Welcome back to the channel and welcome to HMV Wigan. How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing well. A little collaboration between the club and HMV Wigan. As you can see from here, we're doing a recommendations of the month. So check that out. So we had a chat to Tara a couple of weeks back, who's the manager here, and he asked us what we like to do a recommendation section, a little bit like what Waterstones do, and we jumped at the chance. So we've come in today, we've set up a little area, so if you come into HMV Wigan and you come into the boutique section of Blu-ray and 4Ks, and look just above where the Arrow video collection is, you'll see...
I'll come in.
I am here.
He is here, right. And you'll find us
right there. So we've chosen 8 films between myself, Dave and Rob that we thought people would like to see, people from the club like, and between the three of us, choices of films that we will want to see. So
what's your first pick?
First pick is 101 Films' new release of Robot Wars. So if you are into films such as Crash and Burn or Robot Jocks, this was another Charles Band, Empire Films, pretty much on the same line. Even some of the footage is used from out of those two films and sort of mashed together in this. But don't let that take anything away from it. It's still really good fun. Stop motion animation, robots battling to the death. It's really good fun. Next up, I chose Ticks. Early 90s sort of insect horror, recently released by Screenbound Entertainment. This one's brilliant. It features Ron Howard's brother, who I can't... What was his name?
Oh,
Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Clint Howard. With
that's in there.
with one of the best sort of like... it's like transformation scenes where he's bitten by one of the ticks and he starts to get sort of like taken over by them. Really, really good film. Yeah. This Screenbound release is really nice because for such a long time we only had a DVD release of this. I know, Rob, you said you bought it recently, the DVD. But this, I believe, is the Vinegar Syndrome transfer of the film that Screenbound have put out, so that's really, really good. Next, we've a film that was shown at Film Club last month. This is one of Dave's choices.
That's the mic.
So if you want to have a razz on this one, Dave, there's the mic.
Let's have a sniff. Can you hear me talking? Right, so what's this mic on? Right, so yeah, we put a source code on last week. Was it? I think it was last week.
Week before.
Yeah, we did a screening of that, and I had to tell people to shut up and listen to the details because there was going to be questions later on. But as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the better films of today that feels like a film from the 70s. It's a good old-fashioned sci-fi idea that I haven't heard before elsewhere, with a nice little twist at the end that leaves you going, well, I'm going to have to watch that again. It's from Duncan Jones, who did Moon and who did Warcraft, both of which I like, unashamedly. But I think that's his best film, Source Code, about a fellow who wakes up on a train and has to figure out what the hell is going on, and it's all time smashing itself in the face and everything else. Right, so another selection we've got here is 4K release of War of the Worlds and When Worlds Collide. Two cracking old classic science fiction films. You'll probably know more about the release than I do, Tony, but
it's a great 4K release.
In terms of like the films themselves, I chose that one because there was a period of time when I was young when they would put classic sci-fi films on at 6 o'clock on BBC Two of a night, so you'd get something like that just after your tea's finished, sit down to watch War of the Worlds or When Worlds Collide. And a lot of the ideas in films from that era, the 50s and stuff, they're the basis for everything we've got science fiction wise. There's not lots of new ideas about. Source Code's one of them, I'll give it that. Yep. But they're classic films for a reason, because they're good. You know, don't matter when it was made or what the effects look like or anything, they all add to the fact that you've got a film from a particular time period that looks and sounds a certain way, and it's worth a sniff. That one's two cracking films on one disc, so have a go at that. Right, who's up next? Streets of Fire. Is that you?
Yeah, go on.
Get this thing off me. Right. Sniffle.
So, Streets of Fire from Second Sight. This is the Blu-ray version. Yeah, it's a great cover. This has been chosen as one of the films this month for Film Club, as we are doing a night at the Rockborough. If you haven't seen this film, it's like a Meatloaf soundtrack on steroids. William Dafoe plays the bad guy in it. It's really, really good. Based around a singer who you can see on the cover there of a rock band who gets kidnapped, and then her ex-boyfriend comes back to try and rescue her from William Dafoe's biker gang, who's become obsessed with her. Really nice release, really good film. Again, it just sounds like Meatloaf wrote the entire soundtrack for this and the score, but it's one that's going to be entertaining. It'll be up there with one of the sort of like better rock-related films that you've seen, and there are a few. You know what I mean? There is more that people. Rock and Roll High School would have been another one with the Ramones that probably could have fit in this, as well as what we went with Streets of Fire and Phantom of the Paradise, which was an Arrow video release. Next up, Upgrade, another second sight film. Really modern film, this one. I think I first saw this on Netflix, maybe. I think that it was a Netflix release originally when it came out. Brilliant film, brilliant concept of a film.
Again, it feels very 70s-ish.
Feels very 70s-ish. Yeah, and the storyline, but it's so well executed for a modern sci-fi film that was really filmed on a budget. It does feel quite cheap, but it looks good with it at the same time.
Also, I don't know why this guy isn't a bigger star.
Yes.
After seeing this, because he looks like Tom Hardy, and he was in Prometheus, but he's brilliant in this.
Yeah, he's excellent.
And it's really nice, low budget, gory action.
Yeah, and the concept is he has a chip implanted into his brain after suffering. Is he attacked, or is it a? He's attacked, and he's left him paralysed. And they implant a chip into his neural system, where the chip is sort of like sentinel, and it starts to not only control him but sort of take over his body. And when it takes over his body, 9 times out of 10 he's blacked out. He doesn't really know what he's done anything. But as the chip gets used to him and he gets used to the chip starts to do things while he's actively conscious. So he's pulling off all that kung fu moves that he didn't even know he could do, and it's really, really good. Next one up is yours, Dave.
Do this thing. Do you see what I see? Right, so I've chosen Bottle Rocket, Wes Anderson's first feature film. Right, I know he's developed into a fella who's all his films kind of look the same, and if you like one, you like them all. But as far as I'm concerned, that's his best film for a number of reasons. One, it's the one that makes me laugh the most, and two, I think it's got a character in it played by Owen Wilson called Dignan, who is in my top 5 cinematic characters of all time, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody else who has the traits he has. He's basically the villain of the piece, but everybody puts up with him because they want to just be his mate, right? He's an idiot. Everything he does goes wrong, but at the same time, you cannot live without watching what he's going to do next. And it's about this fella, Dignan, who just wants to do little robberies and go and rob like a local shop or a library or something like that, I think. And he's got a 35-year plan based around what he's going to do after he's robbed the shop. And he gets his mate Anthony to join him, who's just been in a mental institute for a bit and needs a bit of help, but he's come out to support his mate Dignan, and they bring their mate Bob along as well. It's got James Caan in there as well, and it's just absolute magic, for Dignan being one of the best cinematic characters you'll ever see, alongside Peoples Hernandez from Shaft. Egyptian cotton motherfucker. So that's my last selection, and we're going to fire Rob at you now because he's chosen something delightful.
Right, what do I do?
Have a speak.
Am I ready?
Yeah.
Okay, hey, I'm having a go. This is new. Right, so I have picked Island of Terror, which is a 1960s sci-fi monster horror sort of mashup movie, and it looks like a Hammer horror movie. It looks great, but it's actually made by Planet Films. But it's directed by Terence Fisher, who did direct all the best Hammer horror films. It's got Peter Cushing and this chap here, Edward Judd, who, if you're all like me, you remember him in the 70s. He did Think Once, Think Twice, Think Bike. That's him. He's a great actor. Brilliant. And basically, it's got these stop motion kind of tentacle monster things that suck human tissue out. And it's all set on an isolated island and they can't leave. Lovely 60s kind of charming monster sci-fi horror. Well worth it.
So, you've still got that, haven't you?
I've still got this, yes.
Yeah,
Do you want it?
I'm going to use Rob.
He's going to use me.
Essentially, if you whiz into Wigan HMV, you shall find selections that we're going to put out on a regular basis. We're going to nip in. We're going to pick some stuff off the shelf. We're not just going to pick the most obscure stuff we can find. We're going to try and pick stuff that, if you haven't seen Escape from New York, then we recommend that you do see Escape from New York. You know, it's been around. Everyone knows where it is. But if you never got around to seeing it, us as a club will recommend stuff like that for you. All right, we might have some bad choices. You know, we might,
but at least one of them's going to be a good film.
Yeah,
at least
one of those 8. Will be
Yeah.
all right, you know. And if the rest aren't, then you can come and fight us in the park. You know, or you can fight Rob because I'm rubbish at it. But hopefully, if you're stuck for something to do, you're stuck for, and you like collecting your films and everything, then HMV's got a brilliant selection. It's looking like, but because we've just picked them out today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so much choice.
Yeah, but if you're coming down on the top of that, we'll put our little recommendation on. Now, the guys here at HMV are going to help us to fill a bit of stuff in so we can write a little something on each one of those films, and they're going to be on the shelf and you'll be able to find them with our stamp of approval.
Indeed.
So there you go. So that's what we wanted to bang on about. Do you want to say anything, Tony, before we go off? Or are you,
flip it round?
Well, that's a bit.
Pudding.
Oh, no, you can't do it while you're filming.
Well, then it's just me and you, it looks like.
Okay.
No, it won't let me.
Get in
Just
there.
me
Then.
and you.
You just sit there, Rob.
You've got to join my mic as well.
Yeah, stand on that side.
I'm the man with the mic.
There you go. So there's our shelf, as you can see. Right, we will be upgrading that as often as we
Yeah,
can.
I mean, this is going to be a
Monthly basis, yeah.
So what I'll try and do is tie some of the films in here that are being shown at Film Club. We'll probably put some, like we put Source Code in there, was a previous film that we showed. And again, we are going to be showing...
You filmed Tony that.
Okay.
And we are going to be showing, what was the other one that was? Oh, the Streets of Fire this month. So we'll always try and add something into the recommendation section that it's either a past film from the club or is an up-and-coming film from the club. And obviously, stuff's always going to change because people's tastes are different. You know what I mean? So if somebody else from the club decides they want to come down here and they want to help us choose some films, this is going to change constantly. It's not going to be my taste, Dave's taste, or Rob's taste all the time. There'll be other people coming down as well to put things out. So you'll always find a choice of eight selection of films here that's got to be within your wheelhouse summer.
And if somebody else wants to recommend something on the page,
yes,
that we can put out as well, that they think is everything, then we'll have a look round for it here. And we'll put it over here. Right?
and on that note,
So wrong.
and on that note, just remember, keep it cold.
Stop this.